What's up, everyone? Mark with Cardivox Academy here, and today we're checking out Thy Art Is Murder. Join me in Armageddon. Very excited. We're going to talk about some cool metal vocal technique. We're going to talk about how you can do cool metal vocals. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, a couple of very quick announcements that are very, very important. The first is that we are having an extremely large vocal contest that's currently in the works. It's already started. We have a video about it if you want to go and learn about what it all is. But essentially, it's this large vocal contest. We had almost 500 people submit songs for round one, and judging for round one is done. It's done. So keep an eye on your inbox, and you'll get an email telling you about what your status is, if you made it to round two, if you didn't make it to round two. And if you did make it to round two, it'll tell you what the next steps are, what you should be expecting, things like that. So going to be very, very, very cool. Now, pardon me. The second big announcement is that after years, it is finally happening. We are going to be releasing, release date to be determined, a Cardivox Academy e-course, a video course for you. Now, it's going to be one of many, many, many courses. I've already got a whole list of courses planned out and lined up that I'm going to be recording and making available. But it's going to be accessible through the cardivoxacademy.com website. Nothing's up there yet. Like I said, release dates to be determined. But this is going to be a false chord fundamental e-course. You know, after teaching for like 4 or 5 years full-time, longer than that, but full-time 4 or 5 years, it's kind of a culmination of all the things that I have found to be most effective, most helpful. It's really a compact package. It's not that compact, actually. It's 6 modules. It's pretty beefy. But it's all the things that I found most helpful, and all the answers to a lot of questions that I get as an instructor. And one of the cool things about this e-course is that the very last module is actually troubleshooting. You know, I remember when I was trying to learn, a lot of people told me what to do, but very rarely was I told what to do when things go wrong, or, you know, what sound I'm probably going to get when I'm doing it wrong. So I give examples throughout the course of what you should sound like and what you shouldn't sound like. And if you sound like, you know, something over here, how to find your way back to a good false chord fundamental scream. So anyways, those are some things to think about. Now, with that being said, that kind of gives away my thing, which is that I am a metal vocal instructor full-time. That's what I do for a living. I teach people how to make metal sounds. It's a lot of fun. Teach people how to go, you know, safely and efficiently. Takes up a lot of my time, but it's a job I love. I myself am a metal vocalist. I'm in a band called Kardashev. We've released a ton of music. Most recently, we released an album called Liminal Right on Metal Blade Records. And that's it. I think that's all I want to say, because I just kind of want to hear this song. So you're probably there with me like, Jesus Christ, just play the song. Well, you know, it's my channel, so chill. The Art Is Murder. Join me in Armageddon. Here we go. All right, I'm already going to pause here because, just before 40 seconds, if you know, you know. I'm already going to pause here because I want you to actually, this is a good moment for like some educational seed planting. One thing that I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I think about when I think about CJ's vocals is I think about long, strong legato sections. I think about sections where the vocals are very held out, lots of words and phrases strung together in very unbroken segments. And that's something that's really cool. You know, there are a lot of barky vocalists out there, and that's not a bad thing. It's great to have, like, you know, those types of vocals. That's awesome. But it's also impressive to have these really long, drawn out sections. It can be a lot of fun to listen to. So when we think about long, drawn out sections, when we think about like long legato phrases, we need to think about neck relaxation and abdominal support, right? Now, I'll talk more about it later. I just want to like kind of plant the seed, and I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, you know, what sort of stuff is going on that's allowing him to do so much on one reserve of air. Okay, just a little thing I want you to think about. Also, love the bandolier that this drummer is wearing. Awesome, super cool. Here we go. Okay, that's actually a really good spot to pause as well. So of course, right after I say that, we get some more barky sections, right? So what can you do? But I'm sure we'll have some long sections. That happens to me a lot though, especially with Spirit Box videos. Whenever I react to a Spirit Box video, I'm like, this is what I'm anticipating, and then it's the total opposite. But anyways, I want to talk about two things that are very markedly CJ and things that you can do as well. So with CJ, he's got. And by the way, I'm coming off of 2 days of the stomach flu. I was puking for like a day and a half. So I'm having to ease back into the vocal thing because I'm a little bit singed. So give me some grace. I've got over 200 videos where I sound great. But there are two things that I really like. One is that CJ does a lot with his jaw, right? With the jaw specifically to get things sounding either really low and back, right? Or really high and wide. Right? When I think of CJ, I think about, well, along with legato phrases, I think about really strong mids. In fact, if I had to pick two vocalists who like really exemplify like crazy good mid screams, it'd probably be CJ and Joe Bad. Honestly, like there are a lot of good mids out there, but when it comes to like S tier mids, it would be these two, right? So, but we'll focus on CJ here. So the first thing. And you can do this with false chord or fry, right? Because this is just changing the resonance chamber. This is just changing the resonance chamber of your mouth. Apparently, I forgot how to speak English too, right? Is jaw slightly back. Ah, ah, ah. Tongue slightly bunched. Ah, 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 ah. Now, you want to be careful that you're not cranking your jaw around in all sorts of uncomfortable positions, right? When you do that, you can create jaw tension that can transfer all the way all around the throat. It can cause your vocals to really be tight and squeezed. But our jaw is able to move back and forth like this, right? We're able to eat leaves and vegetables and things. So we have that grinding motion as well. But if I take this and I pair it with just some pretty simple false chord, slightly compressed vocals, you know, like this sort of sound here, couple of tests. Okay, and I pull that back a little. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about pulling my jaw slightly back. I'm not pulling the resonance back, right? You can see my tongue is slightly bunched back. You can see my jaw is pulled back as well. Now, what I'm using here is I'm using a slightly augmented false chord sound, right? I'm taking my arytenoid cartilages and I'm kind of closing the tissues above the vocal cords to create that really like compressed sound, right? It is based on the fundamental, the bare bones basic false chord sound, which is more of like a right? And you can learn that, shameless plug because it's my channel. In the false chord fundamentals e-course that we're going to be releasing soon. Details will be in the description of this video and the pinned comments and everything. But the false chord fundamentals e-course that we're going to have available that we'll be doing through Cardivox Academy, probably on the cardivoxacademy.com website, will help you get that fundamental false chord scream if you're having trouble with it. But the second one is wide and open, right? So we talked about jaw down and back, tongue bunched up, We can also have more of an wow, blah, sigh, blah, blah, right? And those two mouth shapes really change the effect of the scream, without having to do much, right? So those are two important things to think about. When you're working with your voice, ask yourself this: how little work can I do to get the maximum result, right? We want a very efficient system. We want to be able to learn how to use the body efficiently, right? How many, like, I want to pay just a couple dollars and get like thousands of dollars of worth of value back, right? In this instance, right, the dollars are my effort and the value is, you know, the longevity of my scream, the health of my scream, how cool my scream sounds, right? So efficiency is key. Let's keep going. This song has a lot of really nice bounce to it. I'm not going to talk too much about the composition because I'm only a vocalist. I don't play guitar. I don't play bass. I don't play drums. I mean, I was doing this. I don't even know if that's what the drums are doing. I'm just moving on beat. You know what I'm saying? But you could actually, one thing I'm noticing, just like a little nuance here that I'm enjoying about CJ, and I think this is maybe why I think of him as such a strong vocalist. Well, strong in all aspects, but really strong in his mid-range, is because rather than being like, okay, now I'm going to do my lows. Okay, now I'm going to do my highs. I'm hearing a lot of stretching and moving between low and high ranges, right? Very, very cool. I'm hearing a lot of movement, right? So he's grabbing a phrase and ow, tilting it down, or opening up, ow, right? And that sounds cool when you do it. And really, it's just about keeping a steady airflow, right? It's just about keeping a steady airflow and then moving the shape of that mouth, right? And knowing how to control how that affects the sound waves inside your head. It makes it sound really complicated, but it's not that bad, right? You can sort of start with a hum, right? When I do that, I've got a lot of vibration in the front of my face. Frontal resonance is king for most metal screams, right? Now I'm just gonna open. I'm gonna like make I'm blowing a kiss, mwah, right? But instead of mwah, I'm just mwah, right? Mwah. That resonance, the feeling changes, but it still feels here. Still feels in the front, right? Wow. Now, if I can hold that resonance in place, which I've just shown myself that I can, right? And I do that with a metal vocal, right? And you can do these exercises, fry, false chord. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of weird terms for metal vocals lately, and it's making me feel old. But anyways. Right? It has a really cool effect. And again, it's not that much work. It's not that much work to get something simple rolling, right? Let's keep going. Okay, I'll pause it there too. So, man, that was a proper breakdown. Let me tell you, that was really cool. Sometimes, and I think maybe I'm just over exaggerating it. Sometimes I feel like it's been a while since I heard a proper breakdown without a bunch of synth behind it, right? Which, hey, the synth stuff's cool. It's cool stuff. But that was just like a proper like kick shit breakdown, punch your buddy breakdown. That was cool stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about high vocals, right? Now, there aren't a ton of like high vocals in this song. Really, he's just like reaching up into that space, or I should say moving into that space for effect and contrast, which I have a lot of respect for. I like everything, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes when I hear a vocalist doing like everything within their toolkit, I'm like, that's amazing. And then when I hear a vocalist kind of playing it close to the chest, that's amazing. And when I hear a vocalist, when I like CJ here, who's sticking kind of in one spot, the mids, bouncing around in the mids, but reaching up high and reaching up low for effect, I'm also like, damn, I respect that a lot. I don't know. I just think it's all cool, right? But one of the biggest mistakes that people are going to make when they do high vocals is they're going to think of them as high, right? Same thing with high notes. When we sing high notes, we think of it as high, right? But they're not above our heads, right? They're not up there. The reason we call them high is because they're higher frequency, right? There are more crests and valleys within a space of measurement. And so that higher frequency makes it sound higher, right? I don't actually have to reach up. I mean, imagine that if like notes were actually like something we had to like reach out and grab. We were like, hey, 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 right? That'd be nuts, right? It's not that way at all. So one mistake that people will make, I see this all the time, is they'll like tilt their head. They'll like, clench their jaw. They'll like furrow or raise their eyebrows, and they'll reach for that high scream. When in actuality, whatever you're doing, fry, false chord, doesn't matter to me, right? It's going to be about relaxation and placement, right? Relaxation and placement. So what do I mean by placement? Placement can be kind of a slippery term. Placement can be kind of a slippery term for sure. But what do I mean? Okay, so if I'm here and let's do that. Okay, let's do that humming thing again. Let's do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit nasal, right? A little bit nasal and a little bit more forward. I'm going to raise my pitch slightly. Listen to what happens to foundational false chord distortion when I do that. Right? We get, and with that, my neck is not clenching at all. My neck, like, let me tell you, I feel differences, right? I feel like the distortion is higher up. I feel like the, like in the back of my mouth, like in the top back of my mouth versus the mid back of my mouth, right? I feel like the distortion is a little faster, a little bit more like TV static than like, percolating coffee, right? But I don't muscularly feel any clench here, right? Right. And that's an easy way to get a high scream, to just kind of change the way that you think about it, right? Change the way that you think about it. Anyway, I had something else I wanted to talk about, but I done forgot. So hoot and nanny, let's keep on going there. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I stopped it right before the end to make my comments there. Anyways, pretty good song. Pretty sick. I think my favorite part about it is the ambience, the bounciness, and then that breakdown. That breakdown was a lot of fun. Yet again, very strong performance from the man himself, CJ. Great stuff from Thy Art Is Murder. I definitely think I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear kind of where they go, because obviously, like, I remember the album Hate being like, rightfully so, very aggressive, very, very aggressive. This is also very aggressive, but it had like some ambient, some like, not softer. What am I trying to say? It was more atmospheric, I think, but then again, I haven't listened to Hate in like a couple of years, so I could be totally off base. My point is, it's an interesting sound. I'm excited to see where they're going. Now, again, if you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to watch the channel grow. Keep an eye out on the description and on the pinned comments for more details about the False Chord Fundamentals Carvox Academy online course that you can keep an eye out for. We're probably gonna have some sort of like pre-registration or things like that to keep an eye out on. But anyway, how many more times can I say keep an eye out? Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.